not really to listen to me. It would have been any new announcer who came out here to learn about the other players. But after a while, we were all so aware of the transistors, the feedback coming from the crowd. And that's why one night I asked the crowd to sing happy birthday to one of the umpires. And that was the first time in history, I think, a crowd at a ballpark, all together, 50, 60,000 people saying happy birthday, Frank, to Frank Sikori, who was the umpire. And I had a lot of fun, and that brought us much closer to the fans, and it brought the fans much closer to us. So along the way, as you get the idea, I was given so many good breaks, so much good fortune, that all I can do is tell you that I should be on my knees every day of my life giving thanks. I have really been blessed.
It's really funny. Last night, Joe Hemrahi and I were at the ball game, and to our immediate right was a fan listening to the game on his transistor radio, sitting right in front, so things don't change. In the interest of time, and we really appreciate you all coming out on this day today, and hello to some great friends from the Dodger organization and some other organizations who are here today. It's really great to see you. Billy DeLury, who just celebrated his 62nd year with the organization. What I'd like to do is I'd like to open it up for a few questions to Vin. We are going to keep this short so we can get him back.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Vinny, it's just an honor to talk to you, and I just want to thank you for all the great memories you've given us.
Thank you.
A very just simple question. What World Series ring are you wearing?
This is 1988, the last one. I'll tell you one interesting story. I had all of the World Championship rings except 1955. The background being that back in the 50s in Brooklyn, the only people who got the World Series ring were those in uniform and a few other people in the front office, and that's all. One day, a few years ago, Tommy Lasorda's wife, Jo, was at Mass, and after church, when she came out, a man came over and said, "Aren't you Mrs. Lasorda?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "My name is so-and-so. I'm from Brooklyn." "Oh," she said, "that's nice." And he said, "In fact, I worked for the jewelry company that made the 1955 World Series ring." And Joe said, "Oh my gosh, that's the one ring no one has." He said, "Well, I still have the mold." So she called Peter O'Malley, and Peter then contacted the man, and Peter had 2 rings made, only 2, so that had to cost a lot of money. And he gave one to Tommy, and he gave the other one to me, because I never had that 55 ring. So I have all of them, starting in 55 through 88, and this finger is getting tired of this one and wants a new one. So I hope soon. Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, don't worry about that. It's only me.
So the desire for the ring, obviously you identify with this franchise. How do you stay calm during stretches like what we're going through, broadcasting the game and not getting caught up in it?
Well, one of the things I learned, we really only had one, what I would call a down cycle, and that would be from 1967, 68, 69, 70, right in there. And I realized the best way to do a game was not to come to the park and say, well, we're 12 games back or whatever, and just kind of go through the motions. All I tried to do is once they started to play, just concentrate on the game. Never mind what it meant in the standings or anything else, because I also found that I would be better as a broadcaster, more accurate, if I saw things with my eyes and not with my heart. Now, you know how you folks are. Let's say it's the bottom of the 9th inning, Dodgers down by 1, they have a man on base, 2 out, and a red-hot Matt Kemp comes up to the plate. The crowd roars, and the first thing Matt does is hit the ball in the air. Well, the crowd lets out a roar because they're seeing that the way they want to see it. They want a home run to win the game. So they let out a roar, and then, oh, it's just a fly ball. Well, I can't afford to do that at all. So I can't look at anything with my heart, strictly with my eyes. And over the years, I guess, I've been able to put a shell around so that I can't get too carried away one way or the other. But in the early days, my first year, the Dodgers lost in the 10th inning of the last game of the season. And I thought, I'll never see that again. My second year, Bobby Thompson hit that famous home run. And I thought, well, I'll never see that again. And when we moved out here in 1962, the year that Maury stole 104 and the Dodgers lost that year, another really bitter defeat. So you learn after you've been hit over the head a few times, might not be a bad idea to wear a helmet. And my helmet is the shell of emotion and block it out. Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to go to Yankee Stadium next year?
You know, I wanted to go, and I use that past tense. I wanted to go to Yankee Stadium. If it were the older Yankee Stadium, it really would have meant something to me. The new stadium doesn't mean anything, but just the thought of playing the Yankees in New York would be fun. However, when you look at the schedule, you will see that there is a night game with the Yankees in New York. The Dodgers play the following night in San Diego. And I looked at that schedule and I thought, you know, I don't want to put these old bones through that kind of a trip. So as much as I would love to go to Yankee Stadium, I don't think so because of the rigors of that trip. That's tough. Well, bless you for that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have such a rich anecdotal history. When you go into a game, do you have stories prepared for me?
Oh, no. No. Many times I will drive home thinking, oh my gosh, why didn't I mention that? Or why didn't I say that? No, I don't. I've never prepared. I remember when Henry Aaron hit his famous home run. And after the home run, we had done it on radio. And George Plimpton, a pretty famous writer, he wrote Paper Tiger, or Paper Lion, and a whole bunch of books. And George was there covering the home run. And he went to everybody asking him about the home run. And he came to me finally and he said, did you have something prepared to say for that famous home run? And I said, no, I would be scared to death. I said, you prepare something, you think it's so precious and wonderful that you've prepared it in advance. And I said, you might say it and it doesn't count. I said, if you remember, on Aaron's home run, Bill Buckner climbed the fence of the bullpen and almost caught it. Plimpton was not a baseball fan, and he said, was Bill Buckner good at that sort of thing? And I said, no, George, nobody is good at it. He just climbed the fence. But no, in all honesty, I have never, ever prepared. Sometimes it works. Once in a rare, you just get a God-gifted line from out of the sky, like Gibson's home run. I mean, I was in shock, just like everybody else, and blurted out a reasonably good line. And when Henry hit his home run, and I am kind of proud of the fact my mind worked that way, I shut up for about a minute and a half. That's a long time on radio. The longest laugh, as I understand it in radio history, was a Jack Benny radio show. Benny was a cheap guy supposedly on the show. He's walking down the street and he's held up by a gunman who says your money or your life. And there's a pause. And the gunman says, well, and Benny says, I'm thinking. That laugh was one of the longest ever. When Henry hit his home run, I got up. There was nothing else to say. The crowd went bananas, fireworks, his parents were on the field. So I walked to the back of the booth, and it gave me a chance to collect my thoughts. So then a minute and a half later, I went back on the air. And that's when I said what it dawned on me. What a moment this was. Here was a black man in the deep South being honored for breaking the record of a white icon. This was not just a great night for Atlanta or Henry. It was a great night for the country, and God knows maybe for the world. And I was kind of proud, no, not proud, I was grateful that I had gotten that thought during that minute and a half. Yeah. Yes, sir, one more, and I'm gonna have to pack it in.
You've often said how much respect you have for others that do your job. Do you have any favorites among the other broadcasters that here?
Well, I like them all personally, and of course, as you understand, when I'm working, they're working, so I'm not listening to them at all. But I think I have a really good relationship with all of the other broadcasters, yeah. And I enjoy swapping stories with them. If they have one, they'll tell me. If I have one, I'll tell them. Interesting, before the game yesterday, I was telling John Rooney, I said, we have a kid, not that he's that young, but we have a kid that no one seems to realize with the big names like Gonzalez and Ramirez and all that stuff, Kemp and Ethier. I said, but keep an eye on this kid Cruz. He's remarkable. Boom! So when I see John tonight, I'll just kind of smirk. As if I really knew something. You know. Anyway, I really enjoy this. I'm sorry I'm under the gun. I have to go to the booth and prepare my carefully prepared ad-libs.